Assalamu alaikum students, welcome again. This one is the remaining part of our you can say lecture and next slide of barriers of communication. Now again very important barrier of communication, that is semantic barrier. Now what's the meaning of semantic barriers? Basically it refers study of meaning of words and signs. It's very important. So people interpret the same word differently due to economical, social, cultural, and educational background. So what's again the meaning? It's the interpretation and translation of the words, are symbols, are you can say different connotations and so on. So generally, we have to use familiar words and we have to translate and we have to interpret the words in a different way because of economical, social, and cultural and educational background. Whatever we have seen in our life, throughout our life, definitely from economically, socially, or cultural point of view, we have to perceive the things in that way. So that can be the semantic barrier. Now, next one is students. That is about miscommunication of meanings due to the problems in language are also called. That is also called semantic barriers, right? Like miscommunication because of like just like linguistic barriers, जिसको हम कहते हैं, up to some extent we are not able to interpret the words in a proper way. We are not able to interpret or translate the technical terms in a proper way, so that can be the semantic barrier. So there are three ways of semantic barriers, basic three ways of semantic barriers. Like interpretation of words, it's very important. We have to interpret the words in a proper way or in a familiar way. If some specific word is not familiar for us, so we have to interpret in a you can say wrong. Sorry, we have to interpret in a wrong way. So that interpretation is very important, and that can be the barrier for effective communication also. Then next one is about technical terms. Again, we are very much careful about using of the way you have to use technical terms. Like when you are talking about any individual, if we are talking about computer scientists or engineers or individuals, so आप उनसे बात करें तो आप उनके साथ टेक्निकल टर्म्स यूज कर सकते हैं, बट when you are talking about individual एक लेमैन से बात करें तो definitely you have to use the terms and words जो एक लेमैन को समझ आ सके. So this is very important, and definitely every technical term has specific meaning. So according to the requirement of that individual, जो you can say technical term को understand करता हो, उसके साथ अगर एक कंप्यूटर साइंटिस्ट के साथ मेडिकल की टर्म्स डिस्कस की जाएँ या एक डॉक्टर डिस्कस करे अपनी मेडिकल की टर्म्स को, तो डेफिनेटली इट्स नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट थिंग. So it's better you have to be very much clear and familiar about the terms and the things. Idioms and phrases, again, the idioms and the phrases you are using, again, it's very important that has to be familiar, and you have to know about the words, and interpretation and the translation of those phrases are very important. That must be familiar for that individual also. ऐसी चीज ना हो या ऐसे you can say phrases ना हो या sentences ना हो या whatever the words you are using in the communication that is difficult for the next person. So that can be the barrier for the good communication. So these are very important things. So semantic barriers are again a very important type of barrier. Now next one is how we can minimize the semantic barrier. We have to use familiar words as already we have discussed, जो भी हमने अब discuss किया. Very important thing is we have to use familiar words, clarify the meaning of the words. We have to be clear about the meaning of the words. We have to clarify the translate the meaning of the words. Use the words with positive connotations. Again, yeah, whatever the connotations you are using, that must be familiar and that must be positive for the individuals or for the receiver also. So these are very important, we can say, steps we have to take, or we can take. Express the words properly. We have to express the words properly and translate the words correctly. It's very important. So we have to be correct and concise in our, you can say, communication, or whatever we want to say something. So precise, concise, and correct. It's very important. So these are the different ways through which we can say we can minimize the semantic barriers, or we can, you can say, we can make our um, communication in an effective way. So this is about semantic barriers. Next one is about organizational barriers, organizational, and the next one in next clip we will discuss. So next clip में ये हम discuss करेंगे. Thank you, students.